And we are delighted to welcome the commissioner of the NBA, Adam Silver, good enough to join us live here as we head into All-Star Weekend, which our friends at TNT will have all the coverage for you there. Commissioner, thank you as always. And I want to start with the trade because that obviously was enormous. This was one of the biggest trades that any sport has seen in a long time. And I saw you quoted in an interview with Yahoo that said that you, quote, wish it had been handled differently. How so? What did you mean by that?
Well, first of all, you always hope those situations don't play out publicly. I recognize that there are going to be situations where guys are unhappy or teams are unhappy with them. But ideally, when players want to get traded or teams are preparing to make moves, those are conversations they have confidentially with players, they have confidentially with other teams. And obviously in this case, it not only played out publicly, but it's been playing out since the season even began, particularly with Philly.
Mm-hmm. Which I get. Now, here's the part of this, and you and I have had this conversation before. I was on record for a long time as saying, I think all of this superstar movement is bad for the sport. And candidly, I feel as though I've been proven wrong. I would be fascinated to know what the data shows about the impact it has on your fans when superstars change teams. We're in a different era now where I feel like people root for the players as much as they do root for their home teams sometimes. What does the data show about the way it impacts fans when superstars move around?
Well, first of all, I think we've all changed our view. I remember David Stern's sort of standard mantra was he would say Larry, and you'd say Boston, you'd say Magic, you'd say you'd say Michael, and you'd say Bulls. But that was a different time. And now what we're seeing in the league, first of all, shorter contracts, which I don't think is a bad idea, because one of the things we tried to do working with our Players Association back beginning around 10 years ago was tie performance to pay in a closer way. And I think that's what you see with shorter contracts. So the data shows that superstars moving isn't necessarily a bad thing because it allows bad situations to, in an orderly way, to change. It gives teams that may not be in a competitive position hope that they can sign one of those players. But shorter contracts to me is something very different, and free agents moving at the end of contracts is different than what we just saw, where you have players actively seeking to move while they're under contract. That I think the data is clear on that. That's not good for the league.
Fair enough. Let me move on to something else here, and it's a sensitive subject, of course. But Kyrie Irving's decision not to be vaccinated has had a major impact on the season in so many different ways, and the circumstances around COVID shift around so much. I think a lot of fans would be curious to know what, if anything, you know about where we should expect vaccine policies to be by the time, for example, we get to the NBA playoffs.
Honestly, I have no inside information. I'm here in New York, and that's where that ordinance is in place that has the direct impact on Kyrie. I'll say, to me, just stepping back, while it's been the league's position that we wanted to see every player vaccinated and boosted, that's not something the Players Association was willing to do. Having said that, though, we got to voluntarily 98% of our players boosted, and vaccinated, and then the vast majority of them are boosted. This law in New York, the oddity of it to me is that it only applies to home players. I mean, I think if ultimately that rule is about protecting people who are in the arena, it just doesn't quite make sense to me that an away player who's unvaccinated can play in Barclays, but the home player can't. So to me, that's a reason they should take a look at that ordinance. I'll say also, again, being here in the New York market, feeling particularly in the last week, many of the masking restrictions are being lifted. You can just feel it in the city. There are more people in restaurants, more people out and about. And so while, again, my personal view is people should get vaccinated and boosted, I can imagine a scenario where Brooklyn, as part of New York City, with a new mayor now who wasn't in place, Eric Adams, when that original ordinance was put in place, I could see him deciding to change along the way and say it's no longer necessary to have a mandatory vaccination requirement. As I said, particularly one that only affects home players.
That'd be interesting. That's why I asked, and I understand that it's not your decision to make, but I live here as well, and so I'm seeing the same things you're seeing, and it's something we've speculated about a good deal. Let's move on to something else entirely. I think in part as a way of adding more excitement and meaning to your regular season, you've talked a lot about a mid-season tournament in the NBA. It's still a concept I don't think most fans fully understand. What can you tell us about that, or any other ideas you may have to add emphasis to regular season games?
Well, sure. I'll begin with the play-in tournament, which is, to us, is still part of the regular season as opposed to part of the playoffs.
Right.
As you know, that was something we started 2 seasons ago. So it allows the teams in 9th and 10th place to play in against 7 and 8. And we think that has worked to create additional competition, particularly in the last month of the regular season, because, again, it gives teams hope that may have decided to give up, may have had a player out for an injury and thought that just at this point they weren't going to make the playoffs. Now they can be in the 10th position and squeeze in the playoffs. So that, we think, has been very effective. In terms of the mid-season tournament, I think since we last talked, I've morphed to calling it an in-season tournament as opposed to mid-season, only because as we're looking at different models, it may not fall right smack center at the middle of the season. But the notion is, I've said this before, trying to steal a page, particularly from European soccer, where they have other trophies that they play for. And the ideal would be to take nothing whatsoever away from the Larry O'Brien Trophy, our championship trophy, but in what is increasingly a long regular season, particularly as you look at how people's habits change over time, getting people to sit down for 2.5 hours to watch a game isn't necessarily consistent with the way people watch sports or any events these days, and to say, let's find some games in the regular season, probably still within the same footprint we're operating in now. So the season would start roughly around the same time, end around the same time, but then maybe convert some of those regular season games into what we'd call mid-season tournament and begin a new tradition of something that players care about, teams care about, something to win. Again, not the Larry O'Brien Trophy, but yet something probably secondary to that, but something that maybe you'd see just players go into that extra gear for that competition. And by the way, it's not just European soccer. College basketball, I'm a big fan there. And there's a history, too, of playing tournaments around holidays and other things where teams bring their best game and really want to win.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.